Hey, glad you can make it. Welcome to Fantasy Dad Pods, where dad bods are glorified and dad jokes are encouraged. I'm JT, accompanied by Sean. Sean, how we doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Good, good dad in this week. Nothing crazy to report. All kids are. Oh, well, I guess we'll get into this later. We did have a fantasy baseball draft, and literally right as it's about to start, I had the first pick too, by the way. Right as it's about to start, my son starts laughing, but like sort of complaining. It's a weird way. People with kids know what that is. I'm like, he's like, it's funny, but it's like sort of hurt. And I walk into his room. He's supposed to be asleep, and it looks like this kid. If anyone's seen, like, I just finished it again for the second time, the Netflix series The Punisher, or like a UFC fight, like John
Mm-hmm.
Bernthal as the Punisher is just bleeding from his nose into his mouth the entire series, basically, and he's like smiling, and that's what my son was doing. It looked like he got punched in the face, and his mouth was just full of blood, but he was like smiling. It was terrifying to walk into the room. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I got drafted in literally 2 minutes, and he's like bleeding everywhere all over his bed. So, dad action. I got there, got him in, cleaned up bed, and in time to draft. Just so you know, like some serious dad powers right there to get that ready. But yeah,
Wow.
that was my over the weekend dad moment. But yeah. What about you, JT? Anything to report? I know your boys are trying out for baseball seasons coming up.
Yeah, that Saturday was busy. We did swim lessons, and then I coached my oldest basketball game, and then we also had picture day right before that, and then um, afternoon was it was perfect out, so we went over to the local baseball fields and um, the 8 year old and the 5 year old and hit off the tee. The oldest threw some pitches to me. I threw some pitching for him to hit. We spent like an hour there rotating. You know, oldest gets a bucket, youngest gets a bucket. So it was fun.
Yeah, that's eight. It's starting to get a little serious around. I don't know if people know our neck of the woods. Baseball gets pretty serious pretty early. So your oldest is kind of getting on the cusp there.
Yeah, so he'll be
Getting
trying out
serious.
for Double A Little League.
Yeah.
Um, I'm coaching, so we'll see if I draft him.
Yeah, just don't let him go to another team. Not good enough. Got to best you just cut off the old block.
I talked to one guy who heard kind of through the grapevine about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, in the majors, like it's kind of assumed the coach will draft his kid eventually, but if he's not worth like whatever round pick, those are competitive teams, so just like wait on it." But the coach's kid is only protected in the first like 5 rounds or something.
Oh my
But the
gosh.
coach is thinking like, I could probably just wait to the eighth, or if that's the kid's actual like true talent. Another coach will draft the coach's son in like the sixth, and then you have to trade. These are children, by the way. You
Oh,
have to
it's yeah.
trade the rights to the kid on your team because otherwise, I'm sure that's a whole family controversy. The wife probably get pissed.
For people who don't know this area, I there's this like it's like eighth grade like year, and it's called like Babe Ruth and everything around here. And I was it's a long story, but kid broke his arm, and I wasn't playing on a team, and someone was like, "Hey, let's pick up Sean," and so he's there, and uh, we're playing, and it's so serious that like our first round pick every time make an error, everyone on the team I had no idea would chant first round pick, and they would yell it
Whoa!
on our team, and they let them know about it. Yeah,
Dang!
yeah. I'll have you know that that game I got kicked out of the playoff game because it got brought to attention, and I had played like 5 games during the season at the very end of the year, and then the first playoff game. I played 2 innings, and the other coach waited because apparently I had been drafted by another team. I hadn't played baseball in 2 years. I'd been drafted, and they stopped me from playing. They're like, you
Oh
can't play.
whoa!
Your rights are owned by another team. I didn't play baseball in 2 years for the city, and they were like, someone had just taken me anyways, and they were like, you can't play. And they waited. It was just first like right at the playoffs started, like, and he's about to bat, you can't play.
Yep.
So yeah, that's how serious it is in the where we are. It is absolutely insane. I vowed to never play baseball again in the area, and someone was still drafting me years later, 2 years later.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I'm I'm gearing up for that thick skin where
yeah. I feel I'm like I want my boy to do it too, but it is cutthroat here, and like JT said, it is children. Like we were talking about children, like
Yeah,
not even high
I
school children, like children. You said your boy's 8, like it's 8 year olds. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I do like with city ball that we're doing. They're starting to incorporate it, and I think it's more and more popular. I think Europe started it, and I want to say it was basketball's the sport, but any ref that's under 18 years of age wears a green whistle. So if it's green, they're under 18. So they're also kind of like learning how to ref the sport, and they are getting paid, but they're still
Yeah,
new and everything, and that's been kind of fun because not only am I coaching a bunch of first and second graders in basketball, but I'm kind of trying to help these refs like blow the whistle, like feel empowered, feel like you are also there to help these kids learn. And I think my next time I have a moment with them, when you make a call, don't just make the call and move on, because some kids are like, what did I just do wrong, and
yeah,
why did I turn it over, and why did they get the ball now? And you gotta take the 5 seconds to explain it, and
yeah.
it's all a learning moment. So
That's cool,
but
dude.
otherwise,
Moral
yeah,
story
it's
is
been
let's
good.
take it easy, people. It's kid baseball. We'll talk about the pros now. Okay, we'll talk about
Right.
the Vladimir Guerreros of juniors of the world. You don't have to explain the rules to baseball to him, do you?
No, he was born with a bat in his hand.
There you go. See, he didn't have a problem at 8 year old making the team.
He just had a problem with which nationality do I identify as,
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
going to recruit me.
Yeah. What team do I
So
play for on these WBC things? Uh,
right. Oh, Freeman's going with Canada. Okay, cool. You take that. I'll go back with my roots and what,
was he
Dominican Republic.
technically born in Canada? The junior,
Who? Oh, I thought
because
so.
he because he was playing. The dad was playing for the Expos at the time. I think we're both thinking.
Yeah,
I think
Canada,
Canadian
Montreal,
Dominican player. That is that like the first? It's got to be like one of the first, right?
but born in Montreal.
There you go. Gosh, he's still 24.
I don't know if I've ever heard what Baseball Reference has listed as his nickname.
What's his nickname?
LK. So the K? I don't.
It's gotta mean something, like slang. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's gotta like. You don't strike out that much. Anyways, well, yeah, we just there we go. See, this is the kind of thing you get. You figure out he's Canadian and he's plays for the Blue Jays. Look at that, full circle.
Yep, they knew.
Um,
Do you think they drafted him like right away? Do we know when they put in an offer?
I
I
mean,
don't.
they got
I don't
first
have
dibs.
that here.
We could probably call collusion because they knew ahead before anyone else. Probably.
They're like, here's the release paperwork at the hospital, and this last page just a formality. We get his rights forever
They're like, just sign these things on about. Oh, he's a Toronto Blue Jay. Like, oops.
for life.
for literal life. Like, sorry. Like, yeah, snug that in
Uh,
there. So yeah, if you guys haven't figured it out yet, we're talking first base. Last week we talked catchers, and we're gonna try to snag some catchers or first baseman here. We did a draft, like we said, over the weekend, and we had our WRF draft, NFBC league, and yeah, I guess JT, I'll let you start. We'll lead it into our first baseman. Who did you take at first base for you?
so I had the 13th pick overall out of 15, and I took Matt Olson as my early second round pick. So I got him at my first base spot. Um, to me, I feel like Freddie Freeman has a slight edge, but I feel like Olson's also right there in that tier, and I feel like that's a tier. I'm kind of reluctant with Bryce Harper, and we can get into that, but I ended up with Matt Olson, and I like to have a piece of that Atlanta offense.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The Dodgers or Atlanta, really. But yeah,
Hmm.
you're splitting hairs there. I had the first pick, and so because of that, I took Ronald Acuna in the first pick overall. So shockingly, I did not draft a first baseman high, and then looking at around 30 when it comes back to me. Freeman, Harper, Matt Olson, Vlad had all left, and it was kind of like I don't know how you feel about Pete Alonso, JT, but I feel like it's it's fine. But drafting Pete Alonso at like 30 is pretty high. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, good player, but I just wasn't able to pull the trigger. He ended up going 39th overall. Not a bad player there, but I think just sheer where I was 30 and I think it was, what is it, 30 and 31? Yeah, 30 31. It's just too
Hmm.
much. There's too many options. I went Kirby and Gunnar Henderson. Big on the young buck. So I was like, I got to pull the trigger there. Gunnar also has dual eligibility position wise in this league, so I was just like, gotta do it. He actually is going to be my shortstop, I think. But it just was too high to pull on Pete Alonso, so I waited. Cody Bellinger went 63rd, and then I snagged at in the turn I had the 90-91. Order didn't really matter. Again, I don't want to get nitpicky. I just said at the turn I took Christian Walker. I feel like he's the last. There's definitely a drop off after him. I am very confident with Christian Walker being a stable major league first baseman, and the Diamondbacks offense isn't that bad right now. Like I you know what I mean? Like I think they're sneaky, surprisingly sneaky. If honestly, if Marte could stay healthy for that team, they have
Hmm.
several bats in that lineup that like Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Corbin Carroll, Christian Walker, Marte, Gino Suarez. Like so, they got some guys. Catcher JT Moreno. Um,
Yep. I
so
feel like they
like
got better in this
yeah, they
offseason, and they
did. So
just
their
got to
bat,
the World Series.
it wasn't like some sexy moves, but they got more major league bats, and that's only going to help Christian Walker around him. And so I feel like nice floor. I just didn't want to. So for example, there's the next three guys that went were Cassius, Spencer Steer, and Josh Naylor, and I feel like there's very big gap between those three and the Pete Alonso, Cody Bellinger, and Christian Walker, the three above them. Like it's very distinct, and even then, I would say Pete Alonso's much higher than Cody Bellinger and Christian Walker, but I feel like those three are like in a tier, and the other guys are in much less of a tier. And they only went like 20 picks later, and I was just like, so basically a round later. But I was just like, I don't want to have to fight other people because I saw I was like, okay, man, only like six people have a catcher or first baseman, and if I wait, because again, I'm on the ends, I've got to wait
Hmm.
a long time to get I'm gonna look at my starting first baseman is gonna be like Vinny Pasquantino, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, I can't justify that, you know what I mean? Or best case scenario, Yandy Diaz. Like if someone didn't snag him before, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I can't uh, I can't run the risk of like there's like one guy left I'm like comfortable starting with. I'm like, I got to get Christian Walker. So that's why I pulled the trigger, and I don't regret it. So I guess yeah, we could just kind of go into it. We could talk about the other guys drafted. So you have Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson, just boom, tier A, 1B. You said you have Matt Olson a little higher than Freddie Freeman? Is that it?
No, I'd still take Freddie. I think him chipping in those extra steals, and I mean,
Is there a more shocking? We talked about Jose Ramirez, but is there a more shocking like steals than Freddie Freeman? Like, how does he keep doing it? Like,
at our age too, right? And he's just a year younger.
he's never been like crazy fast, but he's just like he's very intelligent, and he's just like Freddie Freeman. You know what I mean? At age 33, still 23 bases. Like, that's just crazy. That was just
And
crazy. So
and 13 last year. I mean, I know,
yeah,
2023 is the year of the stolen base, but even 13 the year before is
and
super legit.
I feel like the year of the stolen bases it helps some guys, but I don't know if it's helping a Freddie Freeman. You know the pickoff moves. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not sure like the pickoff moves are helping Freddie.
Right.
Like Freddie just knows when to go, and he just was like he's pretty good at it. Like, and he gets on base. You know, he does take his 80 to 70 walks a season. You know, doesn't strike out a ton, makes contact, so he's getting on base. Like over 400 on base. Like when you get on base, it helps you steal bases. So I just, like, yeah, he just, man, it was just surprising. Yeah, I agree. I think Freddie Freeman is 1A. Matt Olson just you hit 54 dingers. It's
Hmm.
I don't care they only stole one base. It's just you hit 54 dingers. Like it's just looking at that number. Yeah, that plays.
I'm okay if you're want to chase that ceiling. I think Frederick provides the super safe elevated floor. I
Yep.
mean, he's a doubles machine. Um, and especially, in an OBP league, it would make more sense.
But I mean, even
But
average Freddie Freeman too. Like he's just like he's gonna hit 300. That's what he's gonna do.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see how Matt Olson doesn't have 110 plus RBIs in it in the year, whereas like Freddie might have that in runs, or I don't know if the RBIs are like
How do you? They're gonna have probably Freeman third and Otani two. Is that what we're thinking right now?
I would think well, Mookie gonna lead
Mookie
off, and
lead
then
off. I almost would put somebody else in front of Mookie because if you could get somebody else in front of three MVPs, like which is just like the stupidest sentence ever. Like just basically three MVPs almost in a row, which is just ridiculous. It would help.
nah, well, I don't know because Freeman and Otani are left-handed, and then Betts is right-handed, and then I mean, what do you want?
The craziest part is if you think
Muncie
like
or
all of them could easily steal 20 bases. Like all of them are going to hit 20 home runs, and all of them they're going to have three 20-20 guys if Otani chooses to steal, basically, because
mm-hmm.
Otani obviously can. We know he can. We know he's fast. It's just he's $1 billion. Just don't hurt yourself. But it's just I feel like elevating someone else behind in front of you, just from like anybody gets on first base in front of those three. But you don't want to take your bats away from Freddie Freeman. I'm just Freddie Freeman's going to put up numbers. It's going to be where's it going to lean more runs or RBIs. Basically, it's just what it's going to be. He's going to get 100 in each. Just like which one is going to be more of a lopsided number because that lineup's just stupid. And then behind him is going to be Will Smith. So like darn it. So yeah.
Shucks.
And then
Um,
what was it? Max Muncy who hit like 32 dingers last year or something like that. Like the quietest, like it was like 38 or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
20. No,
20.
sorry, I'm looking at
He had
projections.
36. The
There you
quietest
go.
36 dingers. Like you know what I mean? Like your 7 hitter hit 36 home runs. Man, sucks. Sucks to be a Dodger fan. Um. So yeah, it's just yeah, and everything we're saying we could say about the Braves too. So it's yeah, 1A, 1B. I agree. I think Freddie Freeman is just simply because of steals. If you took away the steals, it'd be much more of a conversation because you said Matt Olson has that just he could hit 60 home runs. But I take the consistency with Freddie Freeman plus the steals. And until Freddie shows me he's gonna not just keep frankly getting better. Like he's just a dude. So after that, what's your tier? Do you loop in Bryce Harper, Vlad, and Pete then, or because I kind of have just Bryce Harper as like two by himself. I
In
do
his
not
own
have
tier.
Vlad. Yeah, I do not. I, everyone's still drafting Vlad like he's taken the step, and he still just doesn't even have an 800 OPS. I'm just like I'm gonna draft you top 20, 27. I don't hate drafting him there. Like it's not like a bad draft, but like that is baking in some forward progression that just hasn't happened yet. And I'm just like, when does it happen? Does it happen this year? Because it frankly might be a steal because he could, Vlad, we all know has the talent to win an MVP, but like he just hasn't done it yet. And if I'm like taking him or Bryce Harper, I'm just like, let's take Bryce Harper.
Yeah, Vlad, you're 24. You just completed your 5th season. What's up, bro? Like,
That's what I'm saying. Harper's won an MVP. He's had
but yeah, well, you
yes.
could compare, yeah, Harper's, first 5 years. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's
they're
what I'm saying. Well, I
obviously
was
they're
saying for like
different
fantasy
players,
right now
but
this season. I'm like, I know
yeah.
Bryce Harper's going to get me to 800 OPS. I don't know if Vlad's going to do that. I just don't know. And so if it's a dynasty league, obviously, yeah, I flip this. But like, I'm like, for this year, is Vlad even going to crack 800? So I have Vlad as my 4, but it is a separate tier from Bryce Harper because I could just trust what Bryce Harper does. I know what more of what Bryce Harper is going to be. And frankly, one of the days, Vlad just hopes to be Bryce Harper because he's not there yet. It just isn't. Like again,
Yeah. I
like
mean, he hopes to be Freddie Freeman light,
yeah.
basically, just
Bryce
up
Harper
the.
had 900 OPS last year. Vladimir Guerrero had over 100 points less in OPS, and they're
Mhm.
like kind of close. I'm like, guys, like let's chill here a little bit. You're again, that's baking in the projection like that he will take the step, and I'm just like, I would rather have a guy who I know has never had below or I guess sorry, he has not had a below 800 OPS season since 2014 when I believe he was still was he 20? 2014, and it was in 97 games. Like other than that, he's never had below 800. And I'm like that because that's what he's going to be, and it's obviously probably going to be closer to 900. So
Mhm.
that's I'm just like they're not in the same tier of players, honestly, when healthy. There is Bryce Harper is he going to be healthy? That is a very real concern. But like if you've only both played 140 games, I'm going to take Bryce Harper every day. It's just what it is. Am I crazy, JT?
No, I agree with you, and it makes me think I would rather probably have Vlad 5th in closer group uh, polar bear with Bryce than Vlad,
Hmm.
because I feel like it's
I mean
it's
that's
just the
that's
question is the
advancing.
batting average. Obviously, he took a huge. Pete Alonso took a huge dip, but I mean, otherwise, we know he's gonna hit 40 home runs,
And
100
and 800,
RBI.
800 OPS or higher. He is every year.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a more constant. It's just, and I mean, I think last year, I mean, you look at BABIP, and then you're like, oh, okay. Like I don't really think I need to look at anything else. It's like, okay, you got pretty unlucky. Watch out because law of averages regression in the
Yeah.
positive way monster is coming.
His BABIP was around 270 every year. Then it went down to 205. It literally went 74 percentage points lower the last year. It was unlucky. Yeah, yeah, he just got unlucky. I mean, it might go down a little bit. He is like not a spring chicken anymore. He's gonna be age 29, 30 season, but a 70% in BABIP. Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. Although I would say if it's a batting average league, maybe it does lead which we did draft in. That might be
Hmm.
like the only cause for concern. Uh, so that would be the only justification for maybe in a batting average league taking a Vlad over him. But yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I kind of might agree. I think Pete Alonso might be 4, and Vlad might be 5. But I think they're very interchangeable, and they're next to each other for sure. I think. But yeah, batting average league, I'd probably flip it. I'd probably say Vlad over Pete because that's pretty close. But every other league, if it's not a batting average league, like OPS or what, if there's none of those, I'd say Pete Alonso takes the cake over him right there. Um, After that, JT, where is? How am I not? Does Paul Goldschmidt not have like eligibility in our league, JT? He's not on this list. Because I'm looking at,
Um, no, I mean, he's there.
I don't see him. Where did he go?
In our draft, he went 57th. His ADP is 7th overall for NFBC. Fantasy Pros has him ranked him 6th overall.
JT, I'm sharing my screen with you. I don't have. He's just gone.
Pick. Where's pick 57?
I don't know. Like I was like, I'm looking like I feel like I'm missing somebody, and I went over to like Fantasy Pros, and I'm like, Paul Goldschmidt is like staring me right in the face, and he is not
Oh,
here.
that's weird.
But okay. Well, yeah. Paul Goldschmidt got drafted. JT will tell you where he got drafted because I can't see it. But so next tier, or is I assume there's a tier drop right after Vlad. Is that
Oh, that's a good question.
you? I because I think, gosh,
Because I feel like we're peeling the onion, we're looking at the layers, and
let me dive into this. You know,
I,
I think Paul is in that tier with those other two. I think he is. I think he is
with Vlad and
with
with
Vlad and Pete. He's the third, but I'm
yeah,
comfortable putting him in there because I mean, like again, like I think it's more where I'm baking into like him getting worse, which he did, but like even his worst year is still over 800 OPS, which is something we're still needing for Vlad. Like, I mean, he has that one a couple years ago where he had over 1,000, but it's just like last 2 years he hasn't had one. Paul struggled, had 800 OPS, still bat 270 in the batting average league that we're in,
right.
25 home
Uh,
runs. Like,
Paul's worst BABIP year, 2019 at 303.
yeah, I like like he had a bad year for him in OBP at 363, which there's a lot of guys, especially at first base, who would take that. Usually around closer to 400. So I'm like, Paul Goldschmidt, I feel like is the third option there. But if you told me he finished higher than Vlad again, I wouldn't be shocked. But come on, Vlad, I'm just telling you, Vlad, take the step, baby. You're like teasing everybody in
Mm-hmm.
Toronto and everything. You're just teasing it. Just teasing it. But yeah, I put Paul Goldschmidt in that tier with him. I think those are the three. I think those are the three right there. That's a good tier because the next guy, yeah, I think,
Cody.
yeah, I think
Yeah, and according to ADP, Cody is his own tier. Like if you're looking at it,
yeah,
it's really interesting that maybe the unknown of where he'll end up is a question mark. But really, at certain points, like it is what it is. But like, there's a complete gap in ADP, and I'm looking at both the NFBC and the collective Fantasy Pros. Like, he's somewhere in the late 50s, early 60s in ADP. Cody Bellinger is, but the next closest first baseman ahead of him is in the mid 30s, or the one after him is in the mid 80s. So there's like a full 20 some picks in between. Like he's on an island.
yeah. I feel like you are right where it's like not where you're gonna go, but I think it's also like largely like who is Cody Bellinger? Like at this point, like it's more of like there is
He's an
talent
island
here.
boy.
Yeah, there is talent here, and that's why he's like in this area because like the dude's won an MVP, like just straight up he did, and like you could see like last year almost a 900 OPS, but like just 2 years ago it was like 650. Like so it's just who is this guy? So I think people are still pretty high on him. I don't judge anybody for taking him as high as they drafted him because again the talent's there. But it's just can you bank on it? Can he be your first base like starting first baseman? And I would say no. I would have to take another first baseman pretty close to him to be like I need to feel safe because you told me he'd have a 600 OPS. I'd be like, yeah, I could. It's a coin flip. That's what I think. Honestly, I think it's a 600 or 900 basically. I don't know if there's really that in between, and that's what's scary to me. Like I've been burned too many times, but I feel like those guys, and so yeah, I hope he does well. I like Cody Bellinger, but I couldn't pull the trigger, and I do believe he is. This is this perfect spot for him. Is like seventh first baseman. See what happens.
Right. Give me one sec. I just had an interesting idea. I want to find it real quick on Cody.
Okay. Well, I'll go. I'll just kind of go off the next guy. I see Christian Walker, Tristan Cashes, and Nolan Jones. Who else do I snag in there? Like Yeah, those three. I see Nolan Jones, JT, as high as 49th overall player. A little high for me, but I get the profile. I still have Christian Walker as like definitely. I say at a separate tier from these guys, but I'm having a lot of tiers at this point. But I mean, other than 2021, since 2019, he's basically what, an 820 OPS with uh, 31 home runs, which is like it's a solid dude. He's going to be 32 with 820 OPS and 30 home runs. I'm like, absolutely take it, sign me up every day. And again, we talk about it, better lineup coming up. So I think that is something you can bank on versus Tristan Cassius, which it's we talk about it. It's a kid with 500 bats, and they've been pretty solid at bats for this year. You know, he played 132 games, first full season, had a good year, 24 runs, 860. But it's just like it just I hear them because one guy has done it for a number of years now, and just one guy has not. And basically the same with Nolan Jones. I don't think anyone questions Nolan Jones's power, and he plays in Colorado.
Right.
Uh, but it's just like I gotta see it for more than 360 at bats. That's just it. Like 931 OPS, man. I kind of I had him I had him in this league actually, and I just kind of just kept playing him. But man, like 931, I didn't know it was that good at the end of the year. But like, it's just see do it again, more than 300 at bats, basically. That's it. And so again, I think Christian Walker and the other two kids basically are the correct ordering of these tiers. But if you told me that Christian Walker was the third best of the three at the year end, I could see it. His talent just might matter more at the end of the day. How do you think these three lined up after you give your Cody Bellinger fact if you've got it yet?
Oh yeah, I got it. So we're getting nerdy. So I we are big fans of ATC around here. Um, and so shout out to RL Cohen. So if you go on to fan graphs and you go to projections and you select the ATC one, he has three stats that are like nerdy out of this world that I can't even like begin to fully explain, but I'll try to small attempt it. And the one I'm looking at is inter SD. And so essentially what that is the deviation metric of all the projections he takes into account. And so he's saying if you have a higher value, the more the projections differ. And so I was thinking that maybe Bellinger might have a pretty high one, and that's what I was looking on. And out of all baseball players, he has the 20th highest inter SD, and Vlad is right there next to him in terms of us just looking at first baseman. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Cody did not surprise me, but Vlad actually really surprised me there. Okay.
So I think some people are trying to like be hopeful on the upside, and some are realistic with the what you're saying. Haven't showed me 800 OPS. Like let's get going on this.
I mean, he showed a couple years ago, but yeah, like not for a while. Yeah, other than
Yeah.
basically.
The other weird one is Freeman. It's not too far behind, but I'm like, are people thinking age is gonna catch up
Yeah,
to
I
him?
mean, does the
So
age catch up? But he's
it's
getting
like,
better. Like it's just like that's the thing. I'm like, he's getting better. Like what?
and some people like to factor in like, well, eventually. It's like, well, until he shows it, like you can't. I mean, a guy's not injured until he gets injured.
Right.
So
Like he. Okay, what's the difference? Like so I was arguing with this. So not arguing, but like just pointing this out. Like with Colton Wong last year with the Mariners. So I was like, I didn't disagree with the move because he was like 31 and all this other stuff. And they're like, well, yeah, but the cliff was coming. I'm like, a magical age doesn't just happen for somebody. Like, yes, the cliff happened, but how did you know the cliff was happening? Like, Freddie Freeman's 3 years older, and if you said the cliff was coming, you're like, the cliff was coming. You're like, he in the COVID season, he had a 1100 OPS, and you're like, man, like the cliff is coming, and then he has a 900 OPS next year. Like, dude, cliff's coming, and then it's a 920, and it's a 980. I'm like, it's going the other way now, and I'm like, you would have if you just wrote him off as the cliff's coming, this dude is putting up monster numbers and you just would ignore him at this point. And I'm just like, until there's like a sign of this guy slowing down, like, that you like, I don't blame you for taking a Freddie Freeman. You know what I mean? Like, no one could be like, you didn't. I can't believe you didn't see the cliff coming at 34. I'm like, the dude is like, I don't. He still 23 bases last year. What are you talking about? Like, I just, yeah, that's just crazy. That's crazy. Freddie Freeman, leave
Yeah.
him alone. Like, why are they all on Freddie Freeman? Get off his back.
So you were talking about what, the three: Walker,
Uh,
Casas, and
and
Jones.
Nolan Jones.
I have a little bit different for each.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I feel like Walker is in its own little mini tier.
I kind of
Um,
thought that too, but I was tired of like having one person in tiers. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like
yeah,
I had like 19 tiers for like 20 players. It feels like.
like if it gets you and you're seeing those are the next like three,
Yeah,
like let's just get it. Like I just snag Walker and not have to like let someone else decide for me.
exactly what I did. But
Like
yeah,
I have a preference. Casas, I have a slight hesitation on playing time, but not like too much. And then with Jones, actually, depending on the league, he might not have first base eligibility,
interesting,
which is
interesting.
kind of a bummer. So I don't know whatever he ended up
Yeah,
at.
ESPN and CBS I see do not have first base eligibility. Yahoo and NFBC do.
Right.
So yeah, interesting.
He must have got like 10, 12, 15, somewhere right in there, just depending on the
Yeah.
site.
So
So
check your league. That's gonna be very big.
so if it's there, I feel like
Does
Casas
he
is
get the
my
playing time this year? I don't
third.
know who the first baseman is for the Rockies. Do you think he
Oh,
gets it this year?
I would think so. I mean,
Is that the plan to play him there?
let's
I honestly don't
look
know.
it up.
To be honest, I think the Rockies are the team I just care the least about because I don't know what they're doing. So I'm just like, honestly, the only
Yeah.
player I even sort of paid attention to last year was
I
Nolan
guess
Jones.
with Chris Bryant and just overall health question marks,
Okay,
they
so they
have him
moved
listed
him
at
for him.
first.
Yeah, okay,
Whereas
from
Nolan's
first.
playing a
Yeah,
corner outfield, left field.
interesting,
Um,
interesting.
but who's the prospect? Elihuris Montero is that nice fun name to say. First, third might be playing get some playing time
Yeah,
at the corners. So
but then where
maybe
do you play Chris
Nolan is
Bryant?
stuck in the DH. I guess.
But
Well,
Charlie Blackman,
old,
you just can't.
old man Blackman is still
I mean,
hanging
I get
around.
that like Blackman's not great, but he's better than the other options. But he also definitely can't play outfield anymore. So it's just like the Rockies. This is why I don't pay attention to you. I don't know what you're doing. I just don't get it. And so, um, yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
You know what I
Um,
do get though? I agree with you, but the one thing I do get is why they signed Bradley Zimmer at this point. They have so much real estate to cover. We just need someone who can play defense and just
yeah,
run down a ball in case someone else gets injured and has to go on the IL.
seriously. The guy, Estrella Ruiz, like just, just, or no, Pache, uh, Oakland now. Just someone who just maybe can't hit at all. Maybe Colorado helps him a little bit, but just like covers all the ground in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
Come on,
last
Kevin
time
Kiermaier and all those guys out there. Just
I was
get
gonna
them.
say where I was just about to say Kiermaier.
Yeah.
Didn't he just get
He's
signed?
re-signed with Toronto
Yeah, he
for
was
1 year
he was
deal.
out there for a minute.
Yeah,
Colorado. He wouldn't have costed too much,
you just
and
can't be playing Charlie Blackman in center. I just can't. You can't do it anymore. It's just stop it. Stop it.
but
So
we have
yeah,
nothing but love for Charlie. Former Tri
Charlie's
City
our best
Dust
left guy.
Devil.
I have his bobblehead
Yeah,
somewhere. Yeah, but he's 38. You just can't do it. Like,
I
just
had
can't.
his bobblehead, and then all of a sudden the bat broke or something,
Oh
and I think
no.
it was when my oldest was like super young. I think he was messing with it, and all of a sudden he didn't have a hand to hold the bat. I was like, "Oh, what happened here?"
I think mine's downstairs. I'm gonna go way back. I have a Brett Boone bobblehead downstairs too. But I got a Felix, I got an Ichiro, and I got a Paxton Eagle. I think you got the Eagle for me, right, JT?
Yeah, or we went
Yeah,
together or something.
yeah. And so yeah, I got those are the mirror ones I got up here. I got some hockey guys up here too. But yeah, so no, like we love Charlie Blackman. Don't get me
Did
wrong.
didn't we go together and got the Randy Dan Wilson one combo? If you
No,
still have it, but it's
I think we
oh,
went to the
okay.
Paxton one. I think that's the one we went to.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a Dan Wilson one. But okay, so Nolan Jones, okay, but so he would be there if he plays first base. I guess is your point.
Yeah, because I would push Tristan down
Down,
to
and then
the bottom of this kind of tier
do
here.
you push Tristan down far enough to get to the tier below, or do you still keep him above?
I would be okay with that and to let him slide to like
Okay, so
Torkelson.
like, where do you let him? Like, give the next couple guys. Like, where do you think?
Oh, so let me. So I could see Torkelson here. I feel like I know
Speaking of the
Vinny
guy who needs to
Pasquit,
break out, like we're just
right?
it's like
You
a boiling
kind of
pot. Like, come on, like
saw it,
at the end there,
like
like they're like, is he even gonna be a major leaguer? And then you're like, he's like, I'm hitting 34 dingers now. We're like,
and
okay,
I'm
okay.
gonna eat me some 95 ribbies. Yeah. So, um, Vinny Pasquantino, just I know like in ADP wise, like you can wait and that's fine, but I'd be more than happy to get him as a dark horse. If I remember right, he was definitely a top 10 in the draft last year before his injury.
He was coming hot. He was coming off a
Um,
pretty good season before, but
I
yeah,
want to say it was somewhere like 6 to 8, for spacemen. So I mean, like, I don't really, I don't really have any qualms with that as like a
so you
dark
drop
horse
him
one.
below
But
Cassius, below Vinny?
no, I'm just saying this
Oh,
is
okay,
where I'm
okay,
starting to get. It's starting to get fun, and you just kind of like,
gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
you know. And so I'm just kind of starting to group them a little bit. Spencer Steer, I would group again.
yeah.
He has all the
This is a big tier.
eligibility,
It's a big tier. Yeah.
so it would just depend on if he's first base, which he should be. I'm pretty sure he played.
Let me see here. I could check it while you're.
Okay,
He has first base in every league. Yeah, every league.
yeah, I was say I'm pretty sure he played enough there.
Again, the Reds, for a different reason, I don't know what they're doing, but like
Hmm.
for a better reason, I don't know what the Reds are doing, player wise.
Right,
They're playing
and
fantasy baseball. The front office, I'm convinced, plays fantasy baseball, and they have all their own players, and they have all the eligibility. They're like, you're going to play three positions. That's just what's going to happen.
right, and then I think the only other name I'd add to this is Mister Consistent is Yandy Diaz.
Yeah,
Like I
I was
feel
like,
like I know what I'm going
I
to
was
get
like, you
out of
can't
him.
leave Yandy off. Like, yeah,
Like he's just like the least fun in terms of the ceiling, but like the super high floor and like obviously he can didn't he bat like 330 last year
yeah,
or
330 on the dot and a
on the dot?
930
Okay.
OPS. That's not going to
Yeah.
happen. Like, let's just throw it
So
out. Like, yeah,
that was cool, but he looks the part. He's like the TV movie superhero look to him,
yeah.
but you're like years past, you're like, dude, his has a launch angle of 2 degrees.
I was
Like,
gonna
what's
say,
going
yeah,
on?
that's it.
So,
If he kept his launch angle last year, I wouldn't say the 930 and the 330 batting average is doable, but like something in that realm is doable. I just don't know if he's gonna keep it there, like because he's never done it before. So I just and he's 32. I just don't know. I think the launch angle was fun for a year. I just think he's going to revert back to that. Was kind of same thing with Vlad. That was the thing with Vlad. His launch angle. He had that one year where he's like 1,000 OPS, and then he reverts
hmm
back down. And I'm like, just same guy, same issue. Get elevate it. Just get it up a little bit higher, and then these numbers will explode. But I just don't know if either are capable of doing it over the course of the season.
yeah. So I feel like with Yandy, I I think the floor is still an 800 OPS,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
I
Yeah.
because the OBP is going to be creeping up near 400. The
Yeah.
average is going to be always around 300. So he's good for 30 some doubles. Yeah, I just don't know how many balls he'll hit over the wall.
Does he crack 10? It is a real conversation. like it's a real conversation.
So,
Like yeah.
but yeah, like I would say that he would definitely
It,
round out that area where you're like, man, I don't want to take a lot of risk. I've taken
yeah.
risk else in the draft. Gonna go with a Yandy, a nice constant, and just kind of like
If
level out
you
my team.
it just seems silly, but if you can like not have the home runs, if you took a big home run guy but a terrible OBP, a Yandy is a nice fix to that. Great OBP, but just no power. So like if you took someone like it's John Carl Stanton and you needed just something like get that OBP up, Yandy's gonna do that for you, and they're both gonna be cheap. Like it's just like a cheap option to fix those players out and kind of combine them. Yandy and a Giancarlo Stanton.
Right.
So I just yeah, gosh, if Yandy could just hit more than 9 home runs, that'd be like amazing. Which he did last year, which was super fun. But yeah, I basically agree. Spencer Torkelson, I think because it was like his numbers at the end of the year didn't even look that amazing, but like I think it was like something like last 3 months of the season, it was like if you just took those numbers, it was very good, like very very good. And so I think it normalized his season's average. But I think people are like, okay, the corner might be hit to JT's point, like it might be hit where like everyone you look at, you're like 760 OPS. It's like no, like the second half was like it was a machine. It was a let's like go thing, and it was
Mm-hmm.
30 doubles, 30 home runs, like 90 RBIs. It was like okay, we figured this thing out, and it was just like a go time. So they're thinking he's gonna take that into the season, and I I I hope he does because I like him. But Spencer Steer, I don't I don't know. I just I don't know. Like I just don't know. Like it was a pretty solid season all around. But I just feel like the Reds, like I talked about, I don't know what the Reds are doing. I think moving these players around is the only thing they need. These people need to get positions and stick with them. It might be fine when they're still young. They're 25, 26. You got Marte, Novelli, like coming up 23. But like at a certain point, they're going to need to know their positions. You can't keep switching it up. Like we saw with Gino Suarez, just like here in Seattle. Like it messed with him for 2 years. It finally got him back on track. Just you're playing third. Now you're shortstop. Now you're third again. It's just you need to pick a position. You need to just like
Mm-hmm.
once you're in the groove after a certain while, there's guys who just become utility guys, but not everybody can just do that. And the Reds just have tons of guys that do that. And I'm just like, it's gonna affect their bats at a certain point. And I'm like, if unless they just get positions and they haven't really solved the gluttony of infielders because I think they just signed India, right? For 2 more years.
Yep.
So like they haven't solved this. And I'm just like, I'm just worried that my guy's gonna play 4 more positions and it's just gonna hurt his bat. And Spencer Steers only again five. He had one season where he was awesome because that's basically all he's had. And I'm like that on top of I don't know what position he's going to play. I'm just a little nervous. I'm not the player, just the organization. I just like give Spencer. If you told me Spencer Steer was the everyday first baseman, which I think he's going to be with Votto, but I just don't know at this point. I thought they would have all these positions figured out, and they trade for 3 shortstops for the Mariners, and now none of them are playing shortstop. So like I don't know what they're doing, like with their infield especially. So that scares me. Yandy Diaz, love like JT, you nailed it with the floor, and Vinny Pasquantino too. It's just injuries last year. The one and agree on all of it. The one that thing is Josh Naylor, JT. What you left him off? Is he right below this?
Yeah. I would.
What is keeping him in the tier below?
Oh man. Let me click on over.
Because he 26, good year last year. I mean, as in good as like a 350 OPS, 840 or 840 OPS, 350 on base. Didn't have a ton of dingers, but only 450 at bats. Still 17, 93, 97 RBIs though. That was really surprising actually. Looking at that, didn't know he had that many.
Yeah. Let me preface with out of almost all of these names, he's probably like the third best representation of a fantasy dad bod.
Oh,
Other than Pete and Vladito, we're talking about Josh Naylor, 5'11", 250. He's who'd you compare him to? He's getting in that
I'm so
rowdy
bummed that
territory.
you named 3 guys that are like the dad bods, and they're all under 30, and you left off all the 30-year-olds and above off the list. What does that say when Freddie Freeman looks as good as he is, and he's younger than us? Like, how dare you, Freddie Freeman? Like, and Christian Walker, Paul Goldschmidt, like Matt Olson. How dare all of you 30? Or Matt Olson's 29, I guess still, but like, oh, God,
Hmm.
like, yeah. Yandy Diaz is in his 30s, JT, and you just talked about how jacked he is. What is going on with first base? Why are all the dad pods under 30? And all the people over 30 are super jacked.
I
It
just
doesn't make sense.
stumbled on Josh Naylor's prospect TLDR. Naylor is a husky slugger with a 55 hit tool and 70 raw power. That's the intro to his paragraph.
Just he's a husky slugger.
Uh,
We love you, Josh. This is the dad pod. Like,
Nothing but with respect. Um, all right, so I'm thinking he primarily is going to DH slash play some first, but they kind of have a shout out WSU product, Kyle Manzardo, excuse me. Um, but he's for as much as Naylor's probably just like all or nothing power, Manzardo is like Evan White. Let's just put it this way.
that's
Um,
wow. That's just mean. Like for two people.
um, so I don't know. I just feel like, and then his brother Bo Naylor, I feel like if Josh played catcher, he'd be like more valuable. I just don't. I'm starting to slip on like the outlook at his position relative to the others, and I just don't. I don't see a high floor. I don't necessarily see a low. Um, or wait. Did I get that mixed up? I don't see a high ceiling, but I don't really see a low floor. I just see this kind of like
I mean,
just.
I think that's fair though. Like the 14th, 15th, 16th catcher, or first baseman. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's where those players go. Like low floor, high ceiling player. Like I mean, he's going next to Yandy Diaz, which is basically like the same thing. Just I think we're both more comfortable with who Yandy is. I guess this is the best way to say it. Like Yandy is a established Josh Naylor. You know what? I mean, not player wise because Josh is going to hit more home runs, but but like floor ceiling wise, Yandy, is going to do this. Like he's going to
Mm-hmm.
get you 400 on base. He's going to do this, this, and this. Josh probably is going to do what he has done in his career, but we're looking at 700 career at bats, and we're just like actually he's got more than that.
Yeah.
He snuck 200 in 2001. Okay, he's got. Oh wow, yeah, he's got more than that.
I feel like we kind of just got out of 2023 and Josh Naylor, I feel like that's one of his 80th percentile, 90th percentile type seasons.
Yeah.
Other than getting more at bats and more opportunities at the plate,
Do you
I
think it's
feel
him
like
kind of coming into his own? He's like 26 now. Maybe he's like, this is who
but
he
I
is.
feel like this is near peak. A 300 batting average.
Okay.
He bipped his way to that. It was
Oh
350 on
yeah, I'm
base.
looking at it. Yeah,
The
that might be.
power was great, but I feel like we're near his ceiling of an 850 OPS. So I'm just like, wow, he had a ton of RBI production. Good on you. Good amount of doubles, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, I don't see this. I just feel like the floor and the ceiling are way too close, and I think I would rather at this point just let him slide. And if it came to it, if I got a Kyle Schwarber and I'm just like, I miss my Yandy Diaz compliment to that, it's like, I might go with that, but I would feel more hopeful about other guys that are ADPs a lot lower than this. Or I'd rather just, take my dark horse Vinny or, something like that.
yeah. Or wait on some of the sleepers we'll talk about. Yeah, that BABIP is terrifying. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, it is like 40 points higher than it's ever been in his career. Like, I don't know. He got 250 at bats in 2019. I missed that total by a lot. I just saw the last 2 years and I was like, oh, 700 at bats.
Mm,
There we go. Where did
right.
2019 come from? I have no idea. Gosh, those COVID times, like, oh, geez, just like blank. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think you nailed it. Like, I was just like, oh, his average is going up, his on base is slugging, and I didn't look at that. Like that BABIP is. You could tie a string to that. That's a direct line. Yeah, I think he could. 17 to 20 home runs is who he is because he had 20 the year before. It's just how he's going to get there is going to be different. I think that on base, you're right, is closer to 300 than 350. The slugging could make up for it. He could get to that 20, but it's just like he's going to have a sub 800 OPS probably. So, yeah, honestly,
God,
you can even convince me if you drop him a little bit, to be honest.
the more I look at, I just pulled up Savant and shout out. I hadn't really pulled it up until now. He to me he's looking Yandy light. So I mean, if we're willing to take Yandy around here, it's just like this is a younger version, but in probably like a lesser
Like,
ideal lineup situation ish.
like I don't know why this guy's dropping, but like, um, we can go like Christian Eckerson Strand, Encarnacion Strand. Um, I get it. The hype's there, just one season,
Mm-hmm.
200 bats. Like, I think he's perfect. We could kind of skip over him, to be honest, because I think you don't know who he is, but there's some hype. There's some potent talent there. If you want him to be your sleeper, you're not starting him at your first base, but like all that. We're gonna skip over Salvi Perez because kind of already talked about him with the catcher thing.
Mm-hmm.
I want
I
to talk
will
about
say
why is
with
Reese Hoskins so much lower than a Josh
oh,
Naylor?
or Nathaniel Lowe.
Yeah, I am much more likely to draft Reese Hoskins there than Naylor, because again, for everything we talked about, like I'm much more confident in Reese Hoskins' stats have frankly just been better the last couple of years, and I know that's probably who he's going to be, unless you're predicting this mystery cliff, which you don't know what year it's coming. I know Reese Hoskins is going to hit me 27 home runs with a 830 ish OPS. I just know that's what's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen, and so I just yeah, I don't know why he's so much lower. If anything, I would have Reese Hoskins. I don't know about you, JT, higher than Josh Naylor.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Yeah,
I think with Naylor, you might get a better batting average, but I don't think the production is going to be what
the
it is
surrounding
because,
stats probably will. I mean,
I
Cleveland's
mean,
not a great lineup,
Hoskins
but
and
Milwaukee's really good.
yeah,
I mean,
but I would imagine Reese is batting third there.
yeah,
Um, whereas Naylor, I feel like could be cleanup or yeah, probably cleanup. I was going to mention with CES real quick. I agree with what you're saying, but like it's a playing time question. Like everyone can play everywhere, and so yeah, it's back to like you're drafting anyone in
like
Cincinnati with
David Cruz is going to play shortstop, and then I have no idea what else is happening. Like I just have no clue what's happening. Like Marte's was supposed to be shortstop, not playing shortstop. Is he going to play third? There was rumors he's going to play second. Like I
right.
don't know. Like how, how can I trust anything this team does? Uh, like yeah, it's all over the place. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I wonder what does their roster resource say right now as their what they're going to play.
You know, I think we talked about this during the draft, but Heimer Candelario signing there like really just messed
Oh my
everything
gosh,
up.
yeah, he just signed like
Like in terms of like you're like, wait, why?
Strand is now off the bench because they just don't have a place to play him. I just don't. I just don't get it. Like,
I'm intrigued to watch that team because this is like most of these dudes are like 22 to
yeah,
24 years
that's the
old.
thing. Like, I like all of them. I think they all should be playing. I'm like, but the Reds are like, we're determined not to play them. Like, and I'm just like, why? Like, why do you keep doing this? Like, just play him. Like, what are we doing here? I don't get it. Like, I drafted Will. We'll talk about it later. I drafted Will Benson, who's like their eighth hitter. I like Will
Hmm.
Benson, but like I just like I forgot they signed Candelario. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, they have five
I just want to let
legit infielders on that team.
I would let CES just play first base. You didn't need to sign that guy. You needed a pitcher, honestly. But we could break down how to fix the Reds here in a bit. But like, I just don't get
Right.
it. The Reds have so many pieces and just don't know how to play them. The Rockies just don't have anybody, and I don't know what they're doing. Like it's different, very different how they're there. But yeah, yeah.
Nathaniel Lowe, though.
Nathaniel
How
Lowe.
about that guy?
Um, Same thing as Reese Hoskins. Just I don't want to say a tier lower, but like lower. Like, you know what I mean? Like not a full tier, but like he is below Reese Hoskins. But same, everything applies basically the same thing. Not
Right.
quite the same ceiling. Like he could have. He's gonna have about a 780 OPS, probably about right in there. But he's gonna probably hit you 24 home runs. So everything's just a little bit less than a Reese Hoskins. But everything
Yeah.
applies the same.
And I mean, for as much as he walks a great clip. He strikes out a lot as well. So I think that's the only thing hamstringing him in terms
If
of
you're gonna walk a
like,
lot, if you're gonna strike out a lot, you better walk a lot. And I mean,
yeah.
350 OPS is
So
totally fine. Like that's not, yeah,
yeah, and I think I'm pretty much right there, even with this comparison of like a Reese and a Low and a Josh Naylor. But I feel like I would you rather have someone in the Texas lineup or the Cleveland lineup,
yeah,
Sean? So I mean,
yeah. I'm
so
dropping him below Nathaniel Lowe for sure. I guess so that's like 20-ish first baseman. Is there anyone past 20 that you're like I'm interested?
yelling from the mountaintop.
I mean, I guess the one is like Justin Turner. I'm nervous because like he is almost 39, but it's like kind of the Freddie Freeman thing. Like I'm not counting on being an MVP, but he's still a serviceable player. Like we talk about 800 OPS, 350 on base, and he's gonna hit you 20 home runs. And like I'm just like we just talked about that being a slightly better or close to what we just talked about Nathaniel Lowe and Reese Hoskins did. And this guy's gonna be later and has multiple position eligibility. And if
Right.
I'm just like I need a guy to fill up my roster, I'm like until he falls up because he's not going to hurt you if you drafted Justin Turner super late and that is the cliff. And you're like, oh, he doesn't that. But if like it is, and you have an injury to like, let me see here. He has first base in all the other leagues. Yahoo has like a billion positions, but like first base, if like your first baseman gets hurt or doesn't pan out, you know, you took a gamble on somebody, like Tristan Cassis or somebody like that, Spencer Torkelson, it doesn't work out. Cody Bellinger, and you have a nice kind of fail safe of like, hey, I need a really late one versus fight the Ty France, whoever that's going to be, and Anthony Rizzo. You tell me you could get a Justin Turner who I know is going to give me those numbers. I'm like, I'm gonna back up my Cody Bellinger with the Justin Turner.
Right. Yeah. If you're saying Turner, I'm thinking like, man, Jose Abreu. I know he had a
I
really
got
bad
burned so bad with him last year. Though. I
start
wanted to
last
say it, but
year,
it hurt me so.
but
It
like,
killed
I
me.
just obviously he's in a great situation, and we're talking about like that late. He could be like your corner infielder
Yeah,
bench
he's
utility.
not
I
going to
don't
drop
know.
150 points in OPS again, right? It's got to normalize, right? It's got to get closer to the 800, right?
I
Right?
would, yeah, but
Or
if
did he hit
I,
his clip? Like 'cause people talk about it, like did it already happen? But you're probably right. But I just invested in Jose Abreu, and I got burned so bad. Like that was the thing. Like I just like it hurt me specifically.
oh yeah, I want to see how he finished with Statcast. The other name, Josh Bellick, just kind of
Yeah,
stands out. I mean, these are like premium names,
yeah.
but
I was gonna say Josh Bell, but I wanted you to have your boy. I was like, I wanted JT. If you didn't say him, I would come in and say it. But like, I was like JT. That's JT's guy. Like we talked on our real podcast about the Mariners and JT banged the Josh Bell drum for 2 months. Like try to sign him. So I was like, I will say a couple other names. If Ty France could just like not get beamed by balls and actually go to driveline, which he did, there is talent there to
mm,
like, not be like a horrible first baseman. I just don't know his upside. I just don't know if his upside is like really fantasy relevant. I don't know if he's gonna be. I just don't know if he's ever gonna be an 800 OPS guy again. Like you know what I mean? I just don't know if it's ever gonna be that. And
yeah,
the lineup I think is marginally getting better, but like in Seattle, he's gonna hit 20 home runs. Probably not again. Like I just there's people drafting him. He's only 29, but like I don't know. I don't see it. People like I hope I'm wrong. I hope he goes nuts, but like I just don't know first base wise if he's like a fantasy relevant first baseman. I'd also rather draft Luke Raley as the Mariners. Hot take, can I say that? If you told me I had a
Whoa.
first base eligible player for the Mariners, I might take Luke Raley more. Is that bad?
No, I could see that. I
Like,
could see that.
well, because I'm more. I'm like I'll rummage in the unknown pile versus
Yeah.
Ty France pile. Like I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like I'll take a game. I'll roll the dice if you're gonna tell me I got to pick one. I'll roll the dice. I think.
Yeah. Peeking at Abreu, he had an okay September to finish. I mean, like, if he could just average that in September, I just feel like, based on age, I'm like, I would say we saw like a 30th percentile output, which is probably below, but I think that's the floor. I think we just saw the floor based on his age. So
It
if
also
you're
just
okay
started
with that,
so bad. Yeah.
oh yeah, if you're okay with that, I feel like it's at least got to be a little bit better, a little more productive, and it is what it is. So I don't think by any means am I saying reach for him, but if he's there and you're just like, man, I could use a backup first baseman on the bench, sure.
I mean,
Um,
I mean, he went from not every year, but like a 300 batter to 230. He went from like 824 to 680. Like it was just like, and I think like what you're saying too, JT. It's kind of a Spencer Torkel thing, but obviously much older. It was just so historically bad to start. Like
right,
it was awful that first month. I'm like, he went over again. He didn't hit a home run again. Like what? I was just like, it's a Brave. He's gonna figure this out. And I'm like, the dude is killing me. Like the dude is killing me. Like do anything, and he still ended up with 90 RBIs. I mean, 18 home runs isn't a lot, but like with how bad he didn't hit a home run for like the first month and a half of the season, and then still hit 18. Like I think to your point, JT, the more I keep coming around to it, you're probably right. It's just it was so bad in the beginning. Like and to still put up those, the rate stats, the OPS, it was never gonna catch up. You just never he was never gonna make up the start in those, but like he still hit almost 20 home runs and had 90 RBIs. So that gives me some hope of like, hey, if he just doesn't collapse in the beginning, like that actually was probably a pretty decent.
right.
Like he's much higher on this list if like he just doesn't collapse. So and it's the Houston Astros lineup, like you said. I, you can do a lot worse there. So
Yeah. Two other names I see that I'm just like, oh man, I want to just let him become a free agent in your league and see how it goes. And it's ironic that they're 34 and 35 on Fantasy Pros because Chris Bryant's career, we know his potential, but it's just been super injury plagued. I don't know what it is about the high altitude. Does it make you weaker? Question mark. Medical question. Um, but Alex Kirilloff is I when I first got to know Alex Kirilloff, I was like, man, this feels like a Chris Bryant to me. And then he like sprains his wrist and then does something to his wrist and then another wrist, and I was just like, okay, too much like Chris Bryant. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
So um, we know what Chris Bryant is if he's healthy, but again, he hasn't played a full season since 2019. Whereas like Kirilloff, he's young. What did I just see? He's 26.
yeah, I was gonna say
I feel
Kirillov's
like it's still more hopeful. Let's see. Expect to be ready for spring training. He'll play first base. So again, I've if you have extra IL spots and you want to roll the dice on one of those, I would
because
say
one's gonna get hurt. Yeah,
like go for it. I'd be willing to just actually like just ask your league, hey, can I draft this guy and literally put him on the IL right away, or does he have to be injured for me to do it?
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't I think that's as low as I go with anybody that I like. Yeah, we
oh
drafted a lot of
man,
people. We drafted a lot of people
yeah,
in the league because I'm looking at some of these and I was like, I looked at that name during the draft. That's how low
yep,
we got because
yep.
we drafted a lot of players. So I was like, oh, I need another first baseman. But yeah, it got pretty bad. But yeah, that's anyone in a normal league where we're not psychos like us. Where I'm comfortable going. Any lower, like, no, not really. Draft another position. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, I was like, okay, JT, let's get. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I don't want to be negative. Let's be positive. Who's the biggest jumper in this league, in this first baseman? Who takes a big step forward?
Based on just like rank on paper and what they'll
Yeah,
end up
from
at.
the next year, going into next year. Like I don't know, like Spencer Torkelson is the 11th first baseman. Does he finish the high? Like does he jump to 5? Like who's the guy that jumps the most?
Um, my always first thought is okay, they have the ability, but you don't know the playing time, so their rank is
Yeah,
low. And I come back to
yeah.
CES, I
That's what I
think.
was gonna say 16 because he's down there. It's just if he gets a shot to play. But right now he's on the bench, so
Yeah,
I won't say that. I will say Nolan Jones. I think Nolan Jones.
yeah,
No, see, I can't count it because I don't know if he's going to even play first base. So I can't say
that's
that for first
true. He
baseman.
might not be a first baseman.
I'll say Spencer Torkelson then. I think he jumps and gets in the Cody Bellinger area, like the 7th ish.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think he gets there.
I mean, the easy one for me to say would be Vinny because I just don't understand why he's this low. But based on what we were trying to tier, obviously, I think we are thinking he's at least
Yeah,
worthy of a
yeah.
a pick around 100,
I just
120.
I think that's true. I think those are the two because I think Spencer's second half was legit, and I think Vinny just needs to be healthy, which I'm just scared he can't do. But like I think it was a freak thing. So let's
Yeah, I
just
think it was a freak thing.
yeah.
And then guess what? Bobby Whit Jr. is now a thing, and Vinny didn't have that before hitting in front of him. So
That's true.
nice opportunities for some ribbies.
Bobby Witt.
And
There you go.
I've never met a first baseman that doesn't like them a whole mess of ribbies.
Got to eat them all up. Eat them up, Freddie Freeman style.
Nom 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 nom.
The goat. God, look at that dimple. He's a beautiful man too. Can't even have a dad bod. Can't even make me feel better.
Yeah. Does Vinny have a dad bod? I feel like
Bryce
he
Harper
kind
is
of.
still 31. He's super jacked. Like, why are all the first basemen who are over 30 jacked and all the younger guys? What is going on with this position? We need to have a baseball meeting.
I know what it is because they're not dads yet. You gotta, you gotta like,
Joey
gotta have
Votto is
that.
still ripped.
Canadian doesn't count.
he's 40 and he's still ripped. Like, you're right, Canadian. That's something. It's something in the water. I just don't
Vi-
get it.
Vinny might
We
end up
talked to dad
there.
bods. Ty France is under 30. Like what? Like
Oh, nice.
why are all these guys like with these dad bods? Like
It's true. If Driveline doesn't get him in better shape, Ty should just take like a promo ad, the commercial from like Pillsbury, and just be a spokesman for MLB.
we can respect Josh Bell and Jose Brady for helping us out a little bit of the over 30 dad
Right.
bods. There we go. Thank you to
At
Josh.
least for what, like Casas and Pesquitino, like it's tough to call it dad bod when they're like 6'4", 6'5", aren't isn't like they just are big dudes. So it's
Yeah.
like, of
Well,
course,
I mean,
they're
you
going to
can see the
carry a
same
little
about
more
Josh Bell
weight,
then a little bit. Josh Bell's just a beast.
right?
Like he's very tall and large. Like how tall is Josh Bell?
Oh, I was looking up Casas's height
Oh,
because yeah, he's 6'4". Okay, I'll look at Bell. 6'4".
yeah, they're just a big fella. He's just big
Oh
man.
yeah, Texas kid. Yeah, he was
Texas
eating
6'4".
barbecue all the time.
He was trying to play first base or maybe a tight end.
He joined baseball because they were talking about ribbies, and he was just like, "What? I already love ribs." And there's a
Boom.
sport
That's how it
about
gets you.
it,
That's how baseball gets you. That's how like ribs, but you got to see how it's spelled.
right?
Got to see how it's spelled, kids. Next thing you know,
Oh,
you're just hitting dingers for the Marlins. He's like, "What
yep,
happened?" Like a little flat. What ribs? He's just got a bat in his hand and he's hitting dingers. That's what's happening. All right, I do have a dad joke.
all right.
It's Super Bowl relevant.
Oh, nice.
Okay. All right. Yesterday, I accidentally ripped the outfit I was going to wear to the Super Bowl party. I needed a Taylor Swift.
Oh,
There we go. There we go.
yep,
It's topical. We brought it back. So there we go. There you go. And I'm happy that the Chiefs won because it's 49ers. Boo.
All right. Well, tweet at us at Fantasy Dad Pods. Let us know your favorite Dad Bod MLB player. We didn't even mention Rowdy. Is he still free agent? I'm pretty sure. So maybe he would have made the list if we knew where he'd be playing this year. He might be in the KBO. You don't know, but either way, I'll be following him.
There you go.
Anywho, well, let's.
Pittsburgh, isn't he?
He's what?
Pittsburgh.
Did Pittsburgh finally get him?
I thought Pittsburgh locked him up. But anyways, yep. Sign off. Sorry, I distracted you.
No, it's fine. I was just thinking of any. He's a recurring dad bod each year.
Yes, he signed.
Yep. Oh, perfect. Okay, I missed that one. All right, well done, Rowdy. So, and all of you, if you're still listening, well done. Thank you for hanging in there. So, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you listening. Take care. Be well, and until next time, see ya.
See ya.